Hello, it's Justice Blue coming back to you with another video, and I strive to give you nothing but the truth. I am close to the world and to you. And today, we are talking about boundaries. Now, this is an important part to standing in your power. Now, boundaries, if you don't know what it is, are set limitations to what you will and will not do when it comes to yourself or others. Now, an example of a boundary would be PDA. We can kiss and hug and hold hands and all that other stuff that goes along with it, but just not in public. Now, keyword in boundaries. Again, boundaries are set limitations to what you will and will not do when it comes to yourself or other people. Is yourself. That's the key word. Now, you set boundaries based on what you have experienced in your past. Okay? Now, boundaries allow you to say no without second guessing yourself. Okay? See you, yourself, all of that. Boundaries are your limitations to where you will and will not go. Okay? So, example of boundaries, or the 7 boundaries that some of you may have or may not have or may not know are very important are physical boundaries. Okay? Now, a physical boundary would be like, for instance, touching. Now, I have no problem with people touching me, but to the first degree. Now, you can touch my shoulder when you're talking to me, touch my hand, but a boundary there would be like, if I'm not comfortable with you, I will automatically just let you know, like, we don't gotta do that. Like, cause, like, I feel like physical touching is for, like, it's more intimate for me. So if you're touching me and all of that extra stuff, it's gonna make me uncomfortable whether we're friends or not. But it depends on the friend. Cause certain people, I know a lot of women do it. They like to touch. Okay, sweetheart, and all of that. Okay. Just slow it down to the first degree for me. That's just a boundary for me, or whoever. Another boundary would be emotional or intellectual boundaries. Now, these are like, I think happen more in relationships and friendships, and but it can happen for anything, like depending on like who you're talking to at the time, I guess. So if you're talking to like a friend, like, or somebody you're just trying to get to know, I guess, emotional boundary would be like, you're careful on what you say to them about what you've experienced in your past, because you just never know how people are going to take that information. Now, if you ever seen my other videos, 5 ways to defeat the enemy, or 5 ways to win a game of chess with the enemy, or stand in your power, or the negative of standing in your power, then you'll know certain things that you say or do can come back to haunt you when a person does not like you, or whatever they're attempting to do. So that's an intellectual or emotional boundary. Now, we have sexual. I'm not going to get too deep into it because this is not what it's about, but there's certain limitations certain things you will and will not do when it comes to you sexually. But that all these boundaries plan to you knowing who you are. So like, for instance, it's nothing wrong with it. I don't judge, I don't do nothing. But certain people do not like anal sex, regardless of gender, race, age. Some people just don't like it. Some people see it as a backdoor. I, for one, see it as a backdoor and not an entryway. So, hey. Now, moving on, we have financial boundaries. Now, financial boundary could be like you talking to someone and you've only been talking to them for like 2 months. And those 2 months, are you finna give them $5,000 just right off the bat? If they ask. Most likely answer would be no, because you don't know that person well enough. You don't know what they're about. That's not enough time to know somebody. The next boundary would be time. Now, for instance, we'll talk about me for a little minute. Now, I go to work. I do the third shift. Late at night, I get off in the morning. And well, since I'm still up, I go to the gym after that. Since I'm still up, I may cook some food after that. And since I'm still up, I may go to sleep. So time for me is based off my hobbies and what I can and cannot do at that time. Like, I may spend the weekends, like my day is off on Monday and Tuesday, so it's not really much to do on Monday and Tuesday that I like. It really isn't. So if I was to hang out with somebody, it'll be in the evening, which means I'll be cutting off my sleep time, which means I'll be cutting off cooking food with somebody, or cutting off my workout time. Because, like, for instance, I work out, I get off at 4 a.m. in the morning, and then I go to the gym around 6 a.m. right? Then I come back around 7, which means it leaves me time to cook me some food, some dinner, drink some protein, whatever, and then go to sleep because I know I gotta go to work. So if I need to get at least a good 5 to 6 hours of sleep, which leads me to about probably 1 or 2 o'clock. So that means the only time, if it's 1 or 2 o'clock, then I have 3 hours to spend with you. That's it, unless it's on my off days, and most times I work on my off days, but I decided to take my off days this week, so so I may have time, but time is very precious to me. So time is boundaries on what I will and what I do, okay? It depends on what we're doing. So I'm not saying like I just won't give up my time to somebody, but really, I really have to be with people. I really will have to hang out with somebody that really understands like my goals overall. Next is spiritual and religious boundaries. Now, I for one am spiritual, so I don't judge people who are religious, and whether that is Christianity or Buddhism, whatever. I accept all religions, right? But a boundary of mine, for example, would be, don't try to push your religion on me. If I tell you I'm spiritual, you can ask questions about it, but don't come at me to the point where you're trying to degrade what I believe in a way of trying to make your religion seem better than mine. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I most times I won't even have a conversation with you, or it'll get to a point where I feel like now I gotta be direct with you, like, and putting down your religion. But if it gets to that point, then there's no reason for me. There's really no reason for me to even keep communicating with you, because we do not have the same beliefs. Now, I did speak about this in a previous video. Think it is when your confidence is offending their insecurities. So, in that, I spoke briefly on like a coworker who decided, like, I don't know if you watched the last video too. So this same coworker, he came to me when he realized that I was talking to like this girl that he really liked, and he came to me, but like before he started doing some shit behind my back, he tried to approach me indirectly first with like, go watch that video if you want to know the story. With like, he came to work with like this like little, I guess, pamphlet of how to, I don't know, it had something to do with like, I guess, I want to say rectifying, but I don't think it was that. But it was like something about, something like when you have to, repenting your sins. That's what it was, a pamphlet about repenting your sins and getting in touch with God. Something like that. It was like an indirect shot towards me. And basically, he gave it to me. He was like, I'll come back and see what you think about it. Something like that. And instantly, that was just like, that right there, when he said that, it was just like basically a whole notification to me, like, oh, this nigga trying to be funny. Because I remember, like, previously, the day before that, like, the girl that he liked it, and that ended up liking me, we was talking, we was chatting it up in a little security thing, right? And he was there observing our conversation. And I think it's when, okay, this is how it went. I'll just tell a little story. So we was talking, she came in happy as hell, like, and I was happy as hell. She was like, oh, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh, hey, I'm doing good. And we got to talking, and I was like, I just bust out and said, oh, are you mixed? And she was like, yeah, I'm mixed with this and this and this and this, right? And then as we talking, I said, okay, yeah, I'm mixed too, but I'm mixed with breeding and intelligence. And I was just like, nah, I'm just playing, I'm really black. So we get to chopping up and laughing, and here he comes in and interrupts the conversation. Now, this was dramatic for me because I was sitting behind the X-ray machine, and she had put her things through the X-ray machine and follow up to get her things out the X-ray machine. He was watching the walk-through metal detector. As I was sitting behind the as I was sitting behind the X-ray machine, she was like basically right here talking to me. We was literally facing each other damn near. He walked all the way around the X-ray machine to come in and interject his point. He was like, oh yeah, I'm Irish, and I'm Middle Eastern or something. I'm European or something like that, he said. And I swear to you, just like on cue, we both stopped, looked at him, and then went back to our conversation. It was like, why would you that was so dramatic. Like, you really tried to interject yourself in the conversation. So basically that was just that little short story. But anyway, the next day, that's when he gave me pamphlets. So he kept, like he said, he kept coming around, oh, did you read it yet? Did you read it yet? And it was like, it was really just starting to get irritated, because I was like, so I put this shit, I looked at it, I skimmed through, and when I saw that it was about repenting your sins, I was like, oh, he thinking about what happened yesterday. So I put that shit back in this little packet, like whatever. He gave me a little bracelet and everything with Jesus loved me bracelet, I'm repenting, whatever. I put all that shit back in there, and then when he came around for the 4th time, I handed that shit back to him and said, like, no disrespect to you or your religion, but we don't believe in the same things. We just do not really believe in the same things. He kept trying to argue. So I had to hit him with, look, I understand you read your books every day. That's cool. But I just don't feel God is talking to you through that book. If you really was in touch with God, God will talk to you in many different ways, but you obviously don't understand that because you stuck in his book. And that's when I got to explain it in my little story. At some point, when you keep reading the same messages, you can't keep reading the same things. Eventually, you're going to have to step out of your comfort zone and go your ass outside and experience God in other ways, because he's all around us, just not no fucking book. So anyway, that was just my little story on my set boundary. Religion. I respect our religion, but don't come to me with your religion. Period. Point blank. Don't try to push it on to me. None of that. Because I will never push my beliefs onto you. Just know, if you ask me a question, you're going to get the answer. You ask me from a spiritual, yes, I am spiritual, and I will continue to carry around my rocks. I don't give a fuck about your opinion. That's something I don't care to hear. So, moving on. Hi, Frankie. I'm sorry, it's a dog in my door. I love that little dog. Okay. Non-negotiable boundaries, which I just believe, like, every boundary that I explained or any other boundaries that you set for yourself are all non-negotiable. These are things you're just not unwilling to change. And I believe this because, like, for instance, when someone is courting you, when they're courting you, they're observing you, they're taking their time to get to know you from a distance before they approach you. There is something about you that they liked about you. There was things that they liked about you and admired about you before you got in a relationship with them. So when it comes to you getting in a relationship and they're telling you need to change this about yourself, you need to change your attitude, you need to change the way you dress and all of that, that's when it goes to the extremes for me. Example, the last girl I was in a relationship with, I think I had 360 waves at that time, so I had short hair. But I do like to switch it up when I put on wigs and stuff like that, but that's just me. And the moment I put on a wig in front of her, she became instantly jealous, mean, and rude. Like the day that she seen me at the rig, because she kept talking about, I want to see you with hair and all of that, because you keep talking about it. And I was like, cool, fine, because that was just me, natural. So I put it on, and her whole demeanor changed, and her whole point was to tell me she wanted to be the only pretty one in this relationship. Bitch, who? Who? You trying to tell me I can't be pretty too? You thought just because I had short hair, I was just going to be thugging it out like a stud? No, baby, I'm not neither one of those. I'm Savannah, so Savannah's going to do what Savannah wants to do. You're not going to tell me what I can and cannot do. You're not going to tell me I can't do this and shake my head and shit that is too girly. Okay, then, if it's too girly, bitch, you should be on the other side dating the males. Fuck is you over here for? You know what I'm saying? Like, simple. like just thinking back on it, like, she just made me that's when I just wanted to fight her, like, get up with her, cause you're not finna tell me what I can and cannot do, because you don't like it. That's something I don't like, cause you stood there, you was watching me and all of that, and you did all that, just like I was doing the same to her, but, you know, we came together and connected. I didn't want to change nothing about her. I just told her, like, some of your mannerisms, like, it's really easy for you to tell that you've been with men because you act like one. Like I had a few times I did tell her, like, could you stop being so aggressive? But that was because physically, when I say I allowed her to touch, but physically a boundary I'm not finna, you're not finna be roughhousing me all the time if we not playing. Like, calm that shit down for this get too serious. And if I get too serious, I'm knocking you the fuck out. I don't mean to be cussing all that, but still, that's where I was at with it. We not finna do all that. That's when you are with a woman, we not finna do all that. Basically, it was my boundary. We not finna roughhouse. We not finna fight each other. We not finna talk shit to each other. And you damn sure not finna keep calling me a bitch unless you mad. When you mad, it's a different story. But if you just doing it randomly, excuse me, no. And another boundary I had with her, she kept calling me bro and shit. So I said, can you stop calling me bro one day? And she was like, no, bro. I was like, okay, hoe. I was like, okay, if I'm bro, you finna be a hoe. And you about to be a bitch in a minute. Basically what I was saying. Until she stopped. If you're not finna use sis, her, and all of that, I don't know what she thought this because I had short hair. That peed me off. Like, don't do that. Don't do that. I know exactly who I am, and you're going to treat me like the queen that I am. If you cannot do that, you can move the fuck around. So anyway, those are my boundaries. Overall, this message is some boundaries, in my opinion, all boundaries are non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. When it comes to you standing in your power, check them videos out. When it comes to you standing in your power, boundaries are non-negotiable. Because, like, I'm not limiting myself from them, but I really don't like talking to bisexuals or straight women who want to come in and try it out. Because when they come in, like I said before, they're so used to dating men, they expect you to be like that. And I'm not saying all, I'm saying just some. No, that's not what this is. You should have read, if you coming in here thinking that, you should read a manuscript or go out and you need to go watch a little few examples on YouTube couples, lesbian couples, and see how this shit go. Because at no point in the relationship do I turn into a man. I'm sorry. That's just me. But these are my limitations. Like, some things just aren't negotiable for me. Like, and once I see that you doing that, you trying to get me to be something I'm not, regardless of what it is, I'm gonna cut it off. When I say non-negotiable, if I don't like what you're doing, I'm walking away from it. Like, for instance, like I had a male friend, like he kept trying to tell me how women should be. Now, instead of just being a man and saying like I'm kind of threatened by you, because like what I got from it is that like he was threatening for me, like, because I was getting attention from females. I didn't ask for it. I don't ask for it. I was just getting attention, but in my way, I was just being friendly with everybody. Like, because There's a difference of being friendly to having sex with everybody. So, see, this is why I said in my last video, sometimes you just can't be friends with everybody, because they always assuming, putting labels on you. They always doing the most. Like, it's like you feel like you can't be yourself. But anyway, like, he was like, because he felt like he wasn't getting attention once he started, I guess, being a little, I'm gonna say associate. I didn't mean friend when he started being my associate. But the thing is, there's women who like you and there's women who like me. Why are you getting mad at the women who like me? And when I say there was plenty of women who wanted to talk to him that was talking to me just to talk to that person. But he was so caught up on the fact that they were talking to me, or women wanted to talk to me, that it started to be like a little jealousy thing. And all I could do was, like, I started telling him about himself, like telling him, like, I'm starting to notice this and that about you. If there's a problem, let's talk about it like two adults. Didn't want to do that. So you know what I did? Walked away. Then, like, for instance, I had a battle buddy from the Army. I have to see him every day. But I had set a boundary. I had went out with him, hanged out with him 2 times. And then the second date, he went in for a kiss. And I stiff-armed him. Like, you know, like the football players. I stiff-armed her, like, what is it? What are you doing? Like, I stopped, like, what are you doing? What is going on here? I was so confused. I'm like, I thought we was just hanging out, because that's what it said in that text. Do you want to hang out? It said, do you want to go on a date? No, it said, do you want to hang out? I said, cool. And I know everybody just assumed that I'm straight because I don't act like a stud and all of that. Cool. But that's why you need to ask questions. Like, you just don't keep going in for shit, just doing random shit. That's why one of my boundaries is physical touching. It's like, I don't like when men touch me, because some of them go too far. Even if they know you don't like them in that way, they still try to test the waters. So I get uncomfortable immediately. Like, what the fuck is you doing? Like, don't touch me. Like, immediately. But anyway, I stiff-armed him and like, what are you doing? And he got mad. And he held on that aggression and that anger to the next drill date. And I promise you, he tried to treat me like I was nothing. You know what I did? When I started noticing what was going on, I'm like, motherfucker, mad because I don't want to talk to them. Because I don't like them. You asked me, because you talking about something, it's in your energy. Do you like girls? I told you, yeah, and you still tried to do what you wanted to do. And you got mad because I didn't want to do what you wanted me to do. All right, we don't need to talk no more. I'm done. Walked away. So now, when I go to drill, I treat him like he's nobody. Because that's what he attempted to do to me, because I told him no. And that type of energy right there is for any lady or any male, from a female or whatever. You need to walk away from it immediately, because things could escalate to something that you don't want it to. Like, I swear to you, like, because even though I stepped on him the first time, he kept attempting to do the same thing, to the point where I felt so uncomfortable. I literally had to literally get away from him. Like, I literally had to get away from him. And now, his energy now is like, oh, you do such and such, so when we gonna fight each other? Now you want to fight me? Now you want to treat me like I'm a male because I don't want to talk to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, it's like the energies, like certain boundaries and negotiation. Some of this shit is non-negotiable. Walk away. If people don't respect your boundaries and respect who you are as a person overall, the point is to walk away. Boundaries, in my opinion, are non-negotiable, and is a big part of you standing in your power. Every time you say no, do not second guess it. Do not allow another person to force you to do anything you are not willing to do. It goes back to your past. It goes back to any situation you're currently dealing with. If you're not willing to do it, don't accept it. Like, for instance, I know a lot of ladies like that, little rough housing when they date men or women, but it's a degrees on that. You need to know what degree you at, because it can be taken too far. Too far. Just like a lot of people, some relationships, like the name calling and all of that, when they get cool, but it's degrees on that. I grew up I grew up with a mother and her sisters. They called each other the B word, but there's degrees on that, because it's like, just hearing that as a child is like, I used to always think they was mad at each other, but really they were just, all right, bitch, okay, bitch. Like, as I grew up, I learned there was different degrees to bitch. Like, how about we just not call each other that at all until we're mad? Because for instance, in my relationship, then I don't know you really mad because you calling me a bitch all the time. Like, I don't want to, like, to me, I'm just not going to take you serious. Like, in any situation, like, I'm not going to take it serious until you get actually mad. So let's just call each other by our God-given names, and, or the cute names that you want to call, even though that's another boundary for me. Let's just call me by my God-given name unless I give you a name to call me. Because all that baby and boo and all that shit, it is a little gross to me. I understand people like to show affection in certain ways, and I am accepting of that with certain people, but not everyone. Not everyone I date can do that. I don't like all that if it ain't queen and nice words, because people get to a point where it's names, like, for instance, because in public I don't like PDA, so call me by my real name overall. But anyway, this is a video on standing in your basic boundaries and how to implement it, and how it is important to stand in your power with it. Because no means no in every situation. Boundaries, in my opinion, are non-negotiable, because it's like a point, one point to who you are, with a bunch of different other points. If you do not have set boundaries for yourself and people, then somebody can come in and take you here. They can take you anywhere, and it will pull you. Wherever they're taking you, it's going to keep pulling you away from the main point of who you are. So you have to literally, like I keep saying, my main, I forgot what you call it, but this is what I go by. This is one of my life rules. Lessons are meant to be learned. You learn lessons. Then you go into hibernation, meaning you sit with yourself and you think about what was happening, what was missing, and what you can do different for the next relationship. Then you re-enter the world with a new education. So that means that everything you go through teaches you lessons. So you sit and you think about everything that you go through, and you try to understand it the best way you know how. If it gets to a point where it's like it's getting too difficult, don't add, and don't take from it. Take it as it is, move on, find a way how you're gonna move around it. Then you're gonna re-enter the world with a new education. And I made that because a lot of people go through relationships, and I've seen a lot of people do this. They go through relationships, and without even thinking, they enter another one. What did you do wrong in the last relationship? Because now you bringing this same energy to your new relationship, and you still don't understand what the problem is, because you never took the time to sit, think, and recover. These things are so important. But boundaries, moving on. Boundaries are a big step to standing in your power. So it goes a long way, because it goes to what people can and cannot do with you. For instance, if you are chosen, you understand this. People know how far to take it with you, based off how you look and how you react to things that they do. They know how far to take it. So they know if they can manipulate. You will lose a lot of people, but you're losing the right people, because you need to bring the good energy people to you who don't want to take from you, use and abuse you. And people who just know they can't play mental games or play with your heart. People know how far they can go with you depending on how you act. How you act tells a lot. What you say and do tells a lot. Which you need to watch my other videos all the way up to the five ways to win the game of chess with the enemy. So you're gonna understand the key videos that's coming after that. They all go together. That's all I'm gonna say. It was Justice Blue coming back to you with another video. I am cold to the world and to you, and I strive to give you nothing but the absolute truth.